I'm actually looking forward to stepping into the office every single day.
I love working at Sykes because I love talking to people from around the country and just hearing their story.
I like the customer interaction.
And it helps me feel that I'm being part of something bigger than myself.
And the reason I love my job is the opportunity to make such great relationships with so many different people.
I work in a family more than at an actual call center.
I love my job truly because of the people.
I'm actually looking forward to stepping into the office every single day.
I love working at Sykes because I love talking to people from around the country and just hearing their story.
I like the customer interaction.
And it helps me feel that I'm being part of something bigger than myself.
And the reason I love my job is the opportunity to make such great relationships with so many different people.
I work in a family more than at an actual call center.
I love my job truly because of the people.
I'm actually looking forward to stepping into the office every single day.
Well, in order to be the best, they say you have to beat the best. And in professional arena soccer in this country, there is no one better than the team visiting here tonight in Lakeland, Florida. Good evening, soccer fans. Welcome to Soccer Night Florida as the Major Arena Soccer League presents the Florida Tropics as they host the Baltimore Blast, an early season showdown in the Eastern Division of the MASL. Baltimore comes in perfect at 2-0, coming off a one-goal win last night against the rival Syracuse Silver Knights, another division foe. The Tropics coming in after an exciting home opening win against the Cedar Rapids Rampage. That a 6-5 win here a week ago on Sykes Field. Happy to be joined tonight by Evan Weston. Evan is the radio voice of the Orlando City Lions of Major League Soccer and also the play-by-play man for just about any sport they play at Stetson University. You'll find Evan behind the mic. Evan, thank you for joining us tonight and welcome to the wild, wacky world of indoor soccer.
Well, thank you very much, Brian. I'm really, really excited to be here, and what a maiden voyage for me to see the most storied franchise in the history of this league come out and play the Florida Tropics here tonight. Should be a fun one.
Yeah, it should be a really fun one, and Florida really has had this game kind of circled on their calendar since the schedule came out. You go back to last season, an expansion year for the Tropics, and a pretty good year with an 8-12 record for an expansion team. But in the East, they were 0-7 against both Baltimore and Harrisburg last year, the two teams that ended up getting playoff spots from the Eastern Division. So the Tropics certainly know that they have to play better against the division, and it starts here tonight.
Well, look, you know, in your first year as a franchise, you go 8-5 against the rest of the league. You're a year ahead of schedule at least. But, you know, is Florida ready to take that next step? In just year 2, are they ready to compete with the big boys? And this right here is the gold standard. This Blast team, you know, if they're going to be for the taking, it's going to be tonight. They're coming off long travel. They're coming off a back-to-back. This is an opportunity for a Florida team that hasn't played since they beat Cedar Rapids last weekend to really regroup and beat Baltimore when they're down and prove that you don't just have to worry about Harrisburg, you got to worry about us too.
Yeah, absolutely right, and expect because of what you mentioned, the fact that Baltimore played last night at home in their new arena in Towson State, traveled this morning to get here to Central Florida, so expect for sure that the Tropics are going to come out. They are a team that like to pressure the ball anyway, but I think we'll find that especially true here tonight in the first quarter, that they are going to just not try and give the Blast any breathing room, any operating space at all, and really pressure the ball at every opportunity to see if they can perhaps get out to an early lead, although of course that didn't help Syracuse last night. The Silver Knights actually led 2-0 in the first quarter and ended up falling.
This Baltimore team, they're never out of a game. They have so much experience, you know, the players, the coaches, at an organizational level, they've been here more than just about anybody else. So no lead is safe. You can't get too comfortable. And this is what, you know, when you're going to be a playoff contender, this is the kind of game that you have to play. 4 quarters, all out. Make sure that you do not give them any breathing room from minute 1 to minute 60.
Yeah, and that's exactly right. So a big test tonight here for Florida. First place on the line in the division as early as it is, but because this is the first of 5 straight against Eastern Division foes, Syracuse will be here December 1st, and then the Tropics go on the road to Baltimore and Harrisburg December 9th and 10th, and then Baltimore comes right back here on December 15th. So even though it's kind of early in what is a 22-game schedule, it's a very, very critical stretch of games for the Tropics. Time now to meet the Florida Tropics, the starting lineups, and the rest of the squad. So we'll head down to the floor, and here they are.
It's time to count your feet and feature Tropics. Real Honda lineup. And goalkeeper, number 0, Hector Delgado. And midfielder, number 7, Victor. And goalkeeper number 1, Peter Sliwa. And midfielder number 5, Lucas Teixeira. And midfielder number 22, Anthony Orico. And forward number 9, Mauricio Solis. And defender number 90, Lucas Montalore. Finally, your forward and assistant coach, number 10, Freddie Boucher. And the head coach of the Florida Tropics, Mr. Clay Roberts. Ladies and gentlemen, your Florida Tropics. Celebrate its freedom and those who protect it. Continue standing as one nation and one people for the singing of our national anthem, performed by James Mancuso, featuring the Kathleen Color Guard. That the twilight's last gleaming whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight for the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
James Mancuso with the beautiful rendition of a national anthem here tonight in Lakeland, as we are just a couple of minutes away from kickoff, as the Florida Tropics host the Baltimore Blast. The Blast coming in off a win last night, 6-5 against Syracuse, with Adriano Dos Santos getting the game winner for Syracuse in the 7-6 win. Crazy Eastern Division already in the early going. You look at Syracuse, who was Baltimore's opponent last night. Let's go down to the floor for an interview with Mauricio Solis.
And hopefully I can adapt quick to the team and help the team to get some wins and get to the playoffs, and there we go.
Now, you played against the Blast last year in the league final. Can you tell me what makes them a championship team?
well, they've been around for a while, and they know how to get there. So even last year they won against me on the final. It was a great series. They came back in a game that nobody expected them to come back after 6-3. They came back, still won the championship. So they're good on that.
All right, great. Thank you so much for your time.
Mauricio Salas, who has 199 career goals in the Major Arena Soccer League, and hopefully get a couple more at least here tonight, at least his milestone 200th, as the Tropics will certainly need everything that Salas and the rest of the team can provide. Talking about that East, though, and Syracuse, I mean, it's crazy, Evan. You look at the Silver Knights. They're 1-3, and they could easily be 4-0. They've played 4 games, all one-goal games. They've lost 3 games by 1 goal, and the one game they won was by 1 goal. Baltimore's 2 wins are both by 1 goal. The Tropics won by 1 goal here last week against Cedar Rapids. I mean, the East could really be just that tight all season long, which is, again, why a game like tonight is so important.
And we talked about it right off the top, Brian, about just how the Tropics need to make a statement over the next 5 games. Not just this one, but then the 2 on the road at Baltimore and Harrisburg, and then back here they got 3 out of 5 against the Blast. So this is everything for Florida to make sure that they can prove that they belong on the same field as Baltimore. And I mean, there are no easy games in this division. Even Syracuse coming in at 1-3 in 2 weeks. Who knows? They could have won every game they've played since that. It's too early to tell exactly where everything's going to be. I think the one thing we can assume is that the Blast are going to be in the discussion at the end of the year, no matter what.
And the one way that Florida can certainly emulate the Blast and have tried to emulate the Blast this year is some of that balanced scoring. There's just about anybody on the floor at any time where Baltimore can put it in the back of the net. I mean, Vinny Dantas comes in as their leading point getter with 6 points, 4 goals in 2 games. In fact, I believe it was Dantas who got the winner in the mini game in the championship series down in Sonora last year to win that championship, and it was a crazy championship at that. Sonora actually thought they had won the title, scoring with 18 seconds left in that game, and all of a sudden Baltimore, the veteran squad that they are, scored with 5 seconds to play in regulation to tie it and send it to overtime. Here's Anthony Arrico with it. He'll play it back on the defense to Teixeira, who had a nice game last week against Cedar Rapids, and looks like Baltimore wants to come out and take a page right out of the Florida playbook early with some pressure. We know the Tropics want to challenge at just about every opportunity they get when Baltimore has the ball, especially here early on. Ball down to Freddie Mugin, but he had already made a move to the left side of the box, and Arrico fed it in on the right side. William Van Zella, the netminder for Baltimore, and here come the Blast with a 3-on-3 opportunity. Cross the ball to Donatelli, and Donatelli has it blocked by Salas and taken away, or rather that was Monaleris on the block, and Monaleris will head to the bench on a line change.
Baltimore is going to change a lot of personnel very quickly, depending on even whether or not they have the ball.
Yeah, and that's always a strategy as well. Peter Sliwa will send it out to the midfield circle, but Tyrone Hall cannot track it down. Back into the Florida zone, J.P. Reyes will get it out near midfield while Nelson Santana tries to control, and finally the Blast will play it all the way back to Benzela. Here's Diegas with that pressure we talked about early. Diegas challenging Jeremy Raley in the corner, and Raley gets it out of trouble. And finally, Barreras will pick it up for the Tropics at midfield. He'll play it all the way back to Sliwa, who is really good with his feet and actually was one of the key players, even though he did not get an assist on that 4th goal by the Tropics in that big second quarter against Cedar Rapids a week ago.
Look what Florida's doing here, too. They're trying to settle the game into their own pace. They don't want Baltimore to come in here and get comfortable, think they can pressure the ball and just take it right up the field. They're going to play their game at home. That's a mark of a playoff contender.
Lucas Coutinho on the floor for the Tropics, number 21. We'll talk more about him, but he has gotten off to a very impressive start after spending the summer with the New York Cosmos in the North American Soccer League. New to the indoor game, but already has 3 goals. And this is Coutinho with it. He's got some skills and some speed. Here comes Coutinho over the O-line shot. Just goes wide on the near side. Very reminiscent of the goal he scored in Monterey on that road trip, where he went the length of the floor and then pulled the trigger right at the top of the arc for a pretty goal.
That's that pressure we talk about, though, with Florida, though. Even when they nearly give it away, they're not going to stay off the ball at all, and they can actually create breakaways off of that kind of a situation.
Chance now for the Blast as they bring it into the Florida zone. Peruzzi with it at the yellow line. Gets it out to Rayleigh. Rayleigh gets around Diegues, feeds it to the top of the box. A little give and go to Rayleigh, but the Tropics take it away. Here's the long ball to Diegues. Diegues, one-on-one long shot from distance, and Vanzela makes a good save. Had to leave his feet as Diegues teed it up from about 60 feet.
Great counter-attacking soccer by Florida. Just a perfect ball through, maybe just a little bit behind Diegues. If you get him more in stride, perhaps the Baltimore keeper doesn't have quite as much time to get set, but Vanzela making a nice play after Diegues had adjusted the ball.
You get maybe a half a second in this league to make the decision and where to put the ball and when, and you're right, maybe just a stride or so ahead of Diegues, and he might have had the breakaway. But a good opportunity nonetheless here early on. Just 4 minutes in, no score. Baltimore will slow the pace here at midfield. Pat Healy with it, one of the really good veteran Blast players. Moxie with it now. Moxie with a shot off the foot of Donatelli, and a pretty easy save there for Peter Sliwa, making his 4th straight start for the Tropics. Here's a ball down to Pereiras, trying to catch up to it and couldn't do it. He had Freddie Mugin cruising in front of Vanzela, but Pereiras just a step behind.
Baltimore trying to build the game up from the back a little bit. They're going to take their time. They know exactly what kind of system they want to run. Want to break down the lines here for Florida, get them pinned all the way back in their zone. Florida, meanwhile, a little bit more comfortable pressuring the ball, going out on the counter early in this one.
Jonathan Mello with it. Has it back outside the red line, and now back to Pereira. Santana with it now. Tyrone Hall with some pressure near the midfield circle. Now back into the Florida zone. Back out to Pereira. Tyrone Hall again with some pressure. And a push and a whistle and a foul against Hall.
Baltimore, what they're trying to do here is pull Florida out of their zone. Florida has no problem pinning everybody back and parking the bus in front of the net. So Baltimore's trying to bring guys like Hall out from their comfort zone, make them pressure the ball, and then come in over the top.
Santana will feed it down now to Vinny Dantas.
And this is good from Florida. You pressure the ball, you play your traps, don't let Baltimore get that open space where they're going to be so lethal.
Possession now and a chance for the Blast. Shot, good save by Sliwa. It's right at him, and he was able to knock it down.
Well, Baltimore got what they wanted there because Diegues came back out of his own zone to play the ball. And just a nice save by Sliwa.
JP Reyes to Sheridan. Gets it upfield to Pereiras, who was hoping that Diegues was making a run, and he was not. Of course, Pereiras and Diegues know each other extremely well. College teammates at UT Brownsville and teammates here last year for the Florida Tropics. In front, there's a chance, and just getting a foot in there to break up the play. Otherwise, the Tropics would be on the short end of a 1-0 score, but a nice defensive recovery by Pereiras.
Very nice play there from Victor. Saw where the ball was going, made his run in perfect time, and got it out of danger.
It's one of those plays where Peter Sliwa was kind of in no man's land. A good play off the boards by the Blast, and were it not for Pereiras' effort, Baltimore would be on the board.
There's not much you can do there as a keeper except just kind of hope for the best and guess in the right direction.
There's a long ball down to Mugin. Mugin with some pressure by Jamie Thomas, and Thomas will be whistled for the foul. Much to his incredible, can't believe that he possibly fouled there. Still talking to the official.
Well, it's a great play by Mugin. I mean, the guy's a veteran. He's the captain, even an assistant coach for this team. Drawing the contact, he knows exactly where to set it up.
Monalaris thought about it from really long range. He has scored goals from there. Looking for Mugin again, but intercepted by the Baltimore defense.
And it's hard to get cute with this Baltimore defense. They're so fundamentally sound on the ball. you really have to beat them. You can't lull them into sleep like Florida attempted to on that play.
Good job by Nascimento to beat not one but two Florida challengers there. Robbie Aristodemo comes up with it. Plays it back to Rodriguez. Rodriguez thought about playing it back to Sliwa, to Lucas Roque with good pressure and a good decision by Rodriguez not to play it back. Here come the Tropics looking for pressure again. Dieguez lays it off to Enrico, who tried to get it over to Rodriguez, but he had it too high and it goes over the glass into the crowd. Good idea, but not the execution that the Tropics wanted.
Yeah, I was going to say, Brian, I like the idea there. You bring numbers forward, try to get a three-man counterattack going, just a little bit under the ball.
Breaking the action here at Sykes Field at the RP Funding Center. No score on Soccer Night Florida on MASL.TV.
And now, Tropics fans, it's time for your Serpro tip of the game. Tip number 3, don't delay repairs. Waiting to have your roof exterior stucco cracks, tiny pipe leaks could have devastating consequences. It's the water that you can't see that winds up doing the most damage. For more information on the services provided by Serpro Lakeland,
so both teams will talk over a little strategy here. Gives us a chance to thank some of the people that make Florida Tropics soccer a reality here in Central Florida, including Sykes. Join the winning team at Sykes, one of the world's leading customer service and digital solution companies. And we're looking for people just like you to join our Lakeland team. Go to Sykes.com/jobs to get the ball rolling. That's Sykes.com/jobs to get the ball rolling. And a special thanks to our friends at Comprehensive Roofing for all your roofing needs. And boy, don't we have some of those after Hurricane Irma this fall. And quality you can count on. Call us at 863-210-5583, and you can actually enter to win a free new roof. All you need to do is log on to fltropics.com/comprehensive roofing for all the details on the contest where the Tropics and Comprehensive Roofing will give one lucky winner this year a brand new roof on their house. So thanks to our folks at Comprehensive Roofing for that prize and their support here of Tropics soccer in 2017-2018. No score. We played half of the first quarter. A couple of good chances either way, not spectacular chances, but both Vanzela and Sliwa have been tested, but not severely so yet. Vanzela, you talk about the gold standard that Baltimore is. Vanzela, I think he won't probably get a lot of argument, the best goaltender in the Major Arena Soccer League. He is now in his 5th season with the Blast and actually had a shutout last year. It wasn't his first, but it was a first against the Tropics in the only game that Florida played in Baltimore, and that was a 7-0 shutout last fall. Here's Hoxie with it, tries to take the long shot, and Rodriguez got in front of it. Counter-attack for the Tropics. Nice through ball to Enrico. Enrico shot, and that goes high and wide. Good idea by Dieguez.
Perfect idea there, and the only play that Enrico had was to one-time that. Vanzela was, I mean, the guy is just not going to be rattled. But again, Florida, I like the way their forwards are willing to play defense. They understand that Baltimore is perhaps the superior on-ball team. So what they'll do is they'll park the bus a little bit. They're not going to let the Blast get through, and then try those one-touch counterattacks.
Into the Tropics zone. Pereira's takes a spill, but Tyrone Hall will collect the loose ball and get it over to Pedro Ivo Diaz, who gets it back to Hall. Hall trying to control it at the midfield, gets it to Ivo Diaz. Ivo Diaz pushed off, but they will say play on, and the Blast will control it here.
I think a good no call there.
The board, Sliwa comes way out. Tyrone Hall there, and they say play on. Good opportunity for the Blast as Dantas was challenging Sliwa right at the top of the box, and the Tropics win that one by the hair on their chins.
Don't care what level you're at, don't care what, if it's indoor, outdoor, if you're a keeper, if you come out off your line, you better touch that ball. And Sliwa, just by the hair on his chin, managed to get a piece of that and deny Baltimore the opener.
Mujin now with it in the Blast zone, but he can't control. Pereira's will challenge. Taken away over there by Ivo Diaz. Gets it to, well, Mujin will keep it and reset the offense back out to JP Reyes. Mujin heading to the bench on a line change here. Here's Pereira's with it. Pereira's gives it up to Reyes as he too wants to head to the Florida bench. Get fresh legs out there. Reyes, a veteran of the indoor game,
A team warning has been issued.
actually played for the Orlando team. Here's a chance by Diegues over to Diegues again, and the pass from Reyes, and it just wide, and again just wide from Salas. 3 or 4 opportunities and just missed on all of them. Good pressure by the Tropics, clearly their best sustained effort so far here in the first quarter.
Well, an absolutely phenomenal attack. Robbie Aristodemo making a great cut to get that started over towards the right post, and then just volley after volley. Diegues off the bar. Florida earned one there, and well, Vanzela can count his lucky stars that the crossbar was there to bail him out.
Well, sometimes the woodwork is your best friend in this game, and it was right there for Vanzela. Long ball through down to Mugin. Mugin, who likes to play it off the boards, challenged in there. Now Salas comes in. He will collect the loose ball along the near boards here and get it back out to Teixeira.
You see the impact of Salas' size. A smaller guy maybe doesn't win that ball back, but Salas can body off these smaller Baltimore defenders and keep the possession going for Florida.
Salas right at the midfield stripe, taking a look into the Baltimore zone. He'll head off on a line change now. Monaleras with it. Ahead to Arico, and he tried to get it to Mugin, but a nice defensive play by Pat Healy there to head it out of play.
Healy's a really composed defender. He's in that sweeper role. Baltimore will leave 4 guys up the pitch at a time because they trust Healy and Vanzela so much to collect anything that comes their way. And Healy, one of the best in the league, doing what he does in that sweeper position.
Well, let's see if Mauricio Salas is the trigger man here as the Tropics have a dangerous restart from the top of the penalty yard. And it may be Salas that takes it. No, here's a shot. Well, they used Salas as a bit of a decoy there. It was Barreras who ended up taking the shot. I think Vanzela might have got a piece of it, but it still found its way into the top corner of the net, and the Tropics have a 1-0 lead.
Well, Victor Pereira's taking that basically like the indoor version of a free kick. Just a great strike on the ball, and when you're that close, your keeper's just guessing. Great strike by Pereira's to get forward in the lead, and I think it was important. Oh, hang on here.
Oh, steal by the Blast, but a good save by Sliwa.
I think it was important for Florida to get the early lead here at home. With the Blast, you know, of course the game is far from over, but Florida needed to get that first goal off their chest, prove that they belong on the field with these guys.
Yeah, the goals will come fast and furious in this sport, no doubt about it, but it is nice, a confidence boost to at least get that first one. And there is no more dangerous restart on the floor than the top of the arc. The corner kick would be the second most dangerous spot, but Salas had buried one earlier this season from that spot, and it was Pereira's turn here tonight. Here's Tyrone Hall with some pressure against the Blast, and they will reset as Oliveria could not outrace Hall.
What set that goal up too, Brian, was that long ball that found Mugin, and Healy had to play it out. It's that long ball counter-attacking style that the Tropics have played so well in this first quarter.
Against Ricardo, and this will be a dangerous restart here for Baltimore.
Ooh, I don't know about that.
Yeah, that was close.
Very close. If nothing else, perhaps incidental contact there for Ricardo.
Yeah,
but this is a very dangerous spot.
He certainly didn't throw an arm out, but it did look like it might have caught up around the elbow. So we'll see how the Blast want to play this here. It is Mello on the ball right now, feeds it across, shot, and Sliwa got a piece of it with his leg. Good save by Peter Sliwa as he came over and had that well played off the foot of Jeremy Raylan.
That's an intentional move there by Sliwa.
It is, you're absolutely
right. It may have
right.
looked like, to the naked eye, like he was just kind of blundering into that ball, but he did the right thing to turn his hips into the ball. So close close up to the restart of the action that he almost has to act as a central defender in some ways, and Sliwa did a really nice job with that there.
I can't say that I ever played goal in indoor soccer, but I played goal in hockey a lot growing up, and I can tell you about 90% of being a good goalie is just being in the right spot at the right time. And that's a skill, that's not luck. And you're absolutely right. Sliwa knew exactly what he was doing there and made it look more easy than perhaps it should have been.
Great work by Florida in the air there.
He played very well against Cedar Rapids last week. And,
oh, yes, he did.
And off to a good start again here tonight.
Saving over 60% of his shots. Really nice start to the year.
Peruzzi with the pressure, and he wins it for Baltimore. As we count down in the final 2 minutes here now. Tropics with the 1-goal lead. Vanzela will bring it out. He will come off his line. Not quite as much as, say, as Stephen Patterson did in Kansas City last year, but he will venture out, and Peter Sliwa will as well. Of course, the Tropics, with the luxury of having two #1 goalies, we think, on their roster. Miguel Gallardo, dressing again tonight, has not made a start yet, but we'll talk more about him because Evan knows Miguel very well in his time with the Orlando City Lions. Miguel, of course, an all-star with the Lions when they played in the USL. And he is going to get his time here in Florida, make no mistake about it. And excited to see what he will bring to the game once he gets that start. Maybe December 1st here against Syracuse. We'll have to wait and see.
Some phenomenal championship teams there with Orlando City in the USL. Of course, everybody remembers Dom Dwyer coming in on loan, scoring 4 goals in the USL championship. But Miguel Gallardo was just as important to the success of that team as the goalie, as the last man back there. And he is certainly a hero up in Orlando, and will have a place there as long as he's around.
And has joined our fraternity as a broadcaster now for the Lions.
Indeed he has.
He's still just 32. He's not old at all. He's in great shape, and he has played the game indoors. So he played 1 season down in Austin back in the late 2000s. So he's not a complete newcomer to the game, which is a little bit of a help too.
Just welcomed his first child over the summer, and says that added a little bit of perspective and some maturity. So we'll see a veteran season keeper in Miguel Gallardo, one that still has plenty to offer.
One last chance perhaps here for the Blast. No good play by Ivo Diaz as he lost it and then recovered as Nascimento was on the challenge.
They missed a tug there too on the shirt.
You see that now and again in this sport, no doubt about it. So the Tropics will wind out the first quarter here and will take a 1-0 lead to the second quarter. Pretty good first 15 minutes for Florida, but Baltimore, I'm sure, not all that unhappy either. They know after playing last night, perhaps the best strategy tonight is keep it close and maybe see if they can pour it on in the fourth quarter. We'll take a break. It is Florida 1 and the Tropics, and Baltimore rather, no score. This is Soccer Night Florida on MASL.TV. Back here in Lakeland, Florida, little YMCA action for the fans in the stands. Our thanks tonight to Sonny's Barbecue. Visit Sonny's Barbecue on 98 North or South Florida Avenue in Lakeland for the best barbecue experience you could ever want. whether it's a quick lunch or a family meal, you'll leave happy and full from Sonny's Barbecue. And by the way, for the folks here in Central Florida, for that game in Baltimore on December 9th, the Tropics will be hosting a watch party at the Sonny's Barbecue location. That will be the north location on Route US 98 in North Lakeland. So that is December 9th, a watch party for Tropics fans as they will be on the road that weekend against both Baltimore and the Harrisburg Heat. So 1-0, Evan, after 15 minutes. I think in a lot of ways both teams kind of accomplished what they wanted. Florida might have added 1 or 2 more with some of that late pressure, but still, all in all, not a bad first 15 minutes.
Well, both teams have kind of played their game, right? Baltimore wants to possess the ball. They're not here for anything but a win. They're here to go push men forward, play forward, cross halfway, and try to score goals. And Florida, to their credit, has done a really nice job. They've left 3 or 4 men back in their own zone for most of this game. When they've gotten on offense, they've gone quick strike, counterattack, and keep the Baltimore Blast defense, in particular, the sweeper that they employ along in front of William Vanzella, whether that sweeper is Healy or De Oliveira, whoever it may be, they've done a really nice job of keeping the pressure on that player.
So we'll see how things unfold here in the next 15 minutes. I'm sure the Tropics will keep up a lot of that pressure as Sliwa will come out to set things here offensively. He'll drive it deep into the Baltimore zone, looking for Mugin off the boards. Healy there, and Healy will put it out of play, so this will be a restart opportunity at the red line for Florida. Zella's with it, long shot, and that one just missed. Vanzella with a great save. Quick restart by Vanzella, or by Salas rather, and the only one that wasn't pulled on the floor was the Baltimore goalie. Here's a chance in front for Mugin, knocked away. Stolen back, Tropics with it. Monolaris, and he can't control it, and here's a counter-attack now for Baltimore. Long ball on the left side to Pereira. Pereira being challenged over there by Pereiras. And the Tropics will come out of there with it. Salas tried to get it ahead to Mugin, but played it a bit too far. Teixeira with a dangerous play, and he'll draw the whistle.
Going back to that restart, Brian, I mean, you mentioned to me how dangerous Salas can be off of that. What a strike, top left shelf, and Vanzella, to his credit, get just enough of the ball to play it off the bar. And then Monolaris making a really great play on the other end. Baltimore was ready to counter. Monolaris didn't win the ball, but he challenged it just enough.
That was a tremendous save by Vanzella, his best of the game. That was a bomb by Salas, even though it was from about 50 feet out. It, as you mentioned, had top corner written all over it. The Blast now looking for an equalizer here early in the second. Layoff to Bello, and taken away by the Tropics.
And look how many orange jerseys are around the ball whenever Baltimore gets into the zone.
Great point. Ooh, just over the boards, unfortunately, as Pereiras was making a run on the left side.
But Florida's okay with that. If they give the ball away on a counter, that's all right. They're willing to live with that as long as they can control the game in their own zone and pressure Baltimore when the Blast do put numbers forward.
Hoxie with it at the Florida red line. Speaking of size, I think actually Andrew's about 6'4", one of the tallest players in the game, but he is also a quality forward as well.
More skilled than you'd think, given his size, but really a phenomenal center forward, and his mustache game is on point too.
Here's Aristodemo. Such a good veteran presence. He really rarely makes a mistake. One of those guys. Here's a push down at midfield as Santana and Diegas tangled, and no doubt that Ricardo with a little extra bump there, even though he'll say he's innocent, but no question that the foul was committed. Here's Hoxie deep in the left zone corner for the Tropics in front, and again cleared away.
They've got numbers around that arc, around that box. They are going to be ready to drive the ball over to the boards anytime it gets in front of the net.
It was one of Clay Roberts' pregame notes to the team that anytime they were around the box, Baltimore, he wanted not only his guys being close to him, he wanted them on them, physically on them, and not just giving them the space, and they've done that so far here tonight. talk about the pregame and how important this game is for the Tropics. The players cleared the room and had a speech, if you will, or a talk, if you will, from Assistant Captain Freddie Mugin. I mean, Clay Roberts was out of the room. Everyone was out of the locker room about 20-25 minutes before the game, with Freddie talking to the team about just how important tonight is, and that is not something you see every game either, but another indication of what the Tropics think about the matchup here tonight.
You got the two-time defending champions in here, and Florida playing exactly the game that they wanted to play so far.
Lanier Upshaw has a passion for embracing the upside of risk to elevate results, celebrating 75 years in the community of elevating results. Lanier Upshaw is your go-to for business or personal insurance. For more information, visit lanierupshaw.com or call them. Lanier Upshaw, the upside of risk. Diegas again on the foul. Here's a chance for the blast. And again, good defensive work by Florida.
Diegas has his third foul of the game.
Third of the game for Diegas, so he would be close to a 2-minute penalty if he takes another foul here in the half. It was, by the way, Monolaris on the, or rather, Rodriguez on the good defensive play there for the Tropics. And again, Baltimore will control it in the midfield. And now Tyrone Hall with a steal. Hall into the Baltimore zone, has Salas out near the red line trying to find him, but it's intercepted on the deflection by Riley. Here's a shot. Salas again with it. Salas pulls the trigger in front. Nobody home for Florida there, as Arico was a little off the ball outside the arc.
Rayleigh being a little bit too sloppy with Salas around him. You just cannot take that much time to touch the ball down to yourself.
There's a shot and a good save by Sliwa. Okay, let it go from about 30 feet.
Like that attempt there by Lucas Roque. Just take a drive. Sliwa, though, has been on his head through this entire game, through the first 20 minutes.
And you don't always think about goaltenders and using their legs in this game. A little too tall for Sliwa, and a bicycle kick attempt by Roque right there, and didn't quite get all of it. Still 1-0 Tropics. Mugin with it at the midfield line. And a whistle and a foul.
Again, Freddie Mugin making a veteran play. He knows where to draw the contact. Puts his team in an attacking position. Baltimore has been on offense for almost the entirety of this first, or of the second quarter. After that one restart attempt for Salas, that was just about it. And yet, just unable to break through.
Mugin leading the Tropics in scoring so far this year with 7 points.
Every day to the Tropics.
5 assists. Here's Mugin behind the Baltimore defense. Lays it off for Monolaris making a run, and he just couldn't quite get a foot on a great idea by Mugin right there.
That's Max 98.3.
Baltimore will settle it down here.
Just a little bit in front of Monolaris making the run, and you know, the chemistry will build over the course of the season. It's not often that Mugin misses a pass like that. They'll figure that one out. Baltimore should be breathing a sigh of relief.
A roll right to Sliwa, and he will outlet to Coutinho. Coutinho almost shook free. Now Hall, let's see if it'll stay in play for the Tropics. It will. Carreras with it on the near boards, double teamed, and Baltimore will gain possession. Here come the blast. They again will slow things down as Nascimento plays it back to Mello.
And as soon as, well, here we go.
Here comes Hoxie, shot in the goal. Andrew Hoxie from the left wing, about 30 feet out. Sliwa, I think, would like that one back. Well-placed shot, but Sliwa kind of looking to the ceiling after that one.
Well, that was brilliant by Baltimore because they did that through a substitution. You had Florida on the wrong side of the pitch there. They had the blast players that they knew were in the game in front of them, but not the ones they didn't. So Florida brings Hoxie off the bench. He jumps right into the...
A little traffic and then deliver the ball down the right side. Too tall for Hoxie, which is a little bit unusual.
Aristodemo kind of screwing him off the ball a little bit, too.
That is the Button Jeff of indoor soccer, Hoxie and Robbie Aristodemo.
Just a few inches on Robbie
just
there.
Just a couple.
Well, Robbie's a veteran. He's got a few years on Andrew Hoxie. Robbie,
Salas
40
will
years
get
old.
the restart into Freddie, and right back to Salas. Salas out there with Nugent now and Aristodemo up front. Monolaris, the now reigning MASL Player of the Week, number 90. To Aristodemo and over to Salas. Salas will drive it into the Baltimore zone, a little too tall, and was over the glass and into the crowd.
Tropics need to respond better to this. A little bit disorganized after the Baltimore goal.
Had a car accident or have a personal injury, then look to Brooks Law. Our official injury attorneys. Go to brookslawgroup.com or call 1-800-LAW-3030 for more information. In front, here's a shot near side and just goes wide off the foot of Vinny Dantas.
Tropics staying composed on defense. They've switched into a little 2-on-2 here.
A little bit more pressure as Coutinho comes up, and he'll have the whistle against him. Not a lot of contact there, but just enough.
Got his leg kind of hooked up. You're going to get that call, but not a ton there from Coutinho. Florida been playing with one forward for a good portion of this game. They've got Coutinho playing up high now with Tyron Hall. Looking for a little bit more offense now that the game is equal.
Vanzela will come out as almost a sixth attacker here for just a moment. Play a little possession soccer as the Blast set things up in the Florida zone and complete what is a line change now. Down to Dantas. Come all the way back out to Rayleigh at the midfield circle. Rayleigh again looking for Dantas. Monolaris intercepts. Heads it ahead for Hall. Hall still with possession and it gets challenged by Pereira, but it's the Tropics with possession. Coutinho down the left side and he is taken down hard. And no blue card, but a restart opportunity for the Tropics.
Well, Pereira doing just everything he can to slow down Coutinho there, and you take the foul over the 3-on-2 counterattack if you're Baltimore, certainly, but this has been a nervy situation for Vanzela through this game. He's made a couple of great saves. He may have to have another one in him here.
Well,
we're in striking distance. Somebody scream!
Monolaris taking it. There's a shot off the boards in front, looking for Coutinho, but never got through. Here's a counterattack now opportunity for the Blast, and let's see. Oh, good read by Teixeira to break it up. Very good read, kind of a high-risk move. If he didn't get there, it was a clean breakaway for the Blast, but Teixeira read it well.
Not a great ball there by Dantas either. You want that farther in front of your guy, and Teixeira, to his credit, as you mentioned, was able to see that before Baltimore did.
Yep, needed a little bit more steam on that pass, but still Teixeira breaking up what would have been a great scoring chance. Here's a long ball down the floor, broken up again by the Tropics, and Monolaris will play the long ball down to Vanzela. Mugen was in the neighborhood trying to create some interference, but Vanzela was able to play it well. Now Sliwa comes out. He'll play it off the boards. Here's a chance for the Blast, and it's a shot off the foot of Lucas Roque that's deflected out of play. So the Blast will get a good restart opportunity after this timeout on the floor with 5:56 to go. You are watching Soccer Night Florida on MASL.TV.
When it comes to Medicare Advantage plans, here's some great news from CarePlus. With the Carefree plan, you may be able to get a $94 reduction on your Medicare Part B premium every month. That's up to $1,128 a year back in your Social Security check. Plus, no more than $3,400 in out-of-pocket expenses and $0 copays on Tier 1 and 2 prescription drugs. The annual enrollment period is here and ends December 7th, so call today. There's always a plus in CarePlus.
I love working at Sykes because I love talking to people from around the country and just hearing their story.
I like the customer interaction.
And it helps me feel that I'm being part of something bigger than myself.
And the reason I love my job is the opportunity to make such great relationships with so many different people.
I work in a family more than at an actual call center.
I love my job truly because of the people.
I'm actually looking.
Our Kids Zone partner, Rockin' Bouncies, has so much to choose from to make your next birthday party special. Log on to myrockinparty.com or just go see them to discuss your next event. Our thanks to the folks at Rockin' Bouncies for making Florida Tropics soccer a fun evening out in Central Florida. 5:56 to go before halftime. A little bit low scoring at 1-1. But Baltimore a better second quarter in terms of pressure and opportunities, and they are going to get one here on the restart.
Well, Florida was willing to absorb a lot of pressure after they got the lead. They know the Blast are going to have their chances. They were willing to sacrifice some attacks to get some more numbers back. And just kind of a sneaky goal on a counter of all things that got the Blast equal in this game. And so Florida now kind of in a crossroads as to whether they continue that defensive strategy or do they put a little bit more numbers forward. They switch to a 2-1-2, and Baltimore's got this great chance here.
Corner kick opportunity upcoming for the Blast to the left of Sliwa. I guess, but not going to quite be a corner kick, but for all intents and purposes it will be. Pat Haley will be the trigger man. Leaves it off. Here's a chance, a shot, and good save by Sliwa. As Donatelli looked like he was going to take the shot, cut it back towards the box, and Sliwa had to make a good save.
Really clever move by Tony Donatelli there to drive that off his right foot and then out to his left, and Sliwa, to his credit, didn't come off his line. Again, if you're going to make the play up, you got to go get the ball. Sliwa knew he didn't have a chance, stayed back and made the kick save.
This time Donatelli tries to play it off the boards. He does in front to Healy, and he misses as Pereira will try and counter. Has it taken away by Baltimore. Here's a chance at the top of the arc. A dribbler just goes wide as Roque let it go. Pressure again. In front, pretty play, and just wide as Roque misses to the far post.
Better from Florida there. Pereira probably should have cleared that very first ball off the restart. Gave Baltimore a couple of touches and chances near the net, but fortunately for Florida, they managed to survive without any further incident.
Good quarter here so far for the Blast. Tied at 1. Here's Thomas with it. Being watched out there by Tyrone Hall as it comes back to Oliveria. He'll drive it deep into the Florida zone. Monolaris there to Rodriguez to clear it. Gets it ahead to Salas over to Tyrone Hall. Tyrone Hall with a little bit of space. Shot and a good foot save by Vanzela as Hall made a bid to go far post.
Really nice counter there, though, by Florida. Vanzela up to the challenge.
2-on-2 here for the Blast. Shot and a good block on the defense again. This time it was Monolaris making the good defensive play. Cleared long ball by Rodriguez. Lujan can't catch up to it as Santana will play it back. Lujan with some pressure. Here's some space on the right side for Santana. Santana gets it over to Hoxie. Hoxie tries to get it in front. Good block by Aristodemo. Another one of those veteran plays by Robbie. You just don't see him in the box score that much, but he and J.P. Reyes are two veteran guys that just make good plays. Here's Salas, and boy, that's, they're going to call it against Baltimore. Wow.
Well, you had the arm go into the shoulder there. That was the first contact, and I think this is the right call here. Your elbows, arms throwing like that is always a touchy situation.
And I will say a point of emphasis for the referees in the MASL is high contact. That is something that Ryan Sigich, the senior referee for the MASL, or the director of officials for the MASL, has talked about in terms of point of emphasis this year, and that may have been an example of that.
So Dos Santos tonight wearing number 13, which is Rayleigh's number. He has his name taped over the back of the jersey.
Okay, you're right. Here's a chance in front for Ivo Diaz, and it goes out of play. Restart opportunity coming up for the Tropics. Thanks for catching that, because I didn't catch it myself.
You ever see that Cleveland Browns jersey of Tim Couch, where it has all the names of the starting quarterbacks? Well, so it's just one name, but it's kind of the same idea.
So Dos Santos in the box. Pereira and Salas. Let's see if it's Mauricio this time. It is. It lays it up to Mujan, who tries to go top shelf and sends somewhere towards Auburndale.
Well, Freddie trying to toe flick this in. He gets his front toe on top of it, and what you want to do there is drive straight into the ball. What Freddie did, though, was accidentally just get a little bit under it, and just a half-inch off like that can send the ball flying up towards, well, you know, Clearwater, Ocala, take your pick.
It wasn't close, unfortunately. That's the bottom line, but good idea by the Tropics again. Just didn't quite get the execution they wanted. Comes in to challenge, but the Blast will keep control. Santana with it. Nugent with the pressure over there against Pereira. Leaves it for Mello now. Mello back to Pereira. Intercepted by the Tropics. Pereira's on the counter. Has Nugent with him, and he'll play it all the way on the right wing at the center line to Salas, who will head to the bench. Teixeira with it. Nemo back on the floor for the Tropics. And he can sneak one in now and again. So.
He's just such a smart player. He has so many years under his belt. Former Canadian national teamer. He's never in the wrong spot, and he doesn't make wrong decisions. And that is such a benefit to a young, new franchise like this.
Yeah, and he came in mid-season last year and really brought that presence that was so noticeable, that calming influence and veteran leadership that the Tropics really needed at the time. Coutinho with it, and he'll get it back to Montoleros.
Full disclosure, Robbie and I also work together over at Orlando City, and he just has such a mind for the game. He is always seeing the entire field.
Yep, always enjoy watching him play. Here's a long ball by Salas and blocked out there by Santana.
I like Florida controlling a little bit of possession here. They conceded a lot of it to the Blast. Now they're starting to control the ball a little bit more on their home floor.
Salas will take a look into the Baltimore third. Can't find anyone, so it'll end up on Sliwa's foot. Sliwa being challenged by Hoxie. Long ball into the Baltimore zone and knocked ahead by Pereira, who has it. And Pereira will play it back to Van Zalen.
2 minutes.
Inside 2 minutes to go here.
Tropics.
And this will belong, I think, to Florida, yes.
Look how far Salas is dipping back, too. He's not poaching near the goal. He is getting himself involved, trying to facilitate this attack.
Here's Nugent to Salas. Salas with a long shot. Blocked nicely.
This is good by Florida, Brian. Baltimore, I don't want to say they're out of sorts. They're too good for that, but they're certainly a little bit back on their heels.
Salas again with a long shot. It was Mello, but it blocked on the original shot. Tropics will control here, and I think you're absolutely right. Baltimore, they know, had the better of the play early, and here in the last couple of minutes, the Tropics have settled it and kind of evened the pitch. Nice to get a late one here and take a lead to the half. But you knew right from the get-go here tonight it was going to be a tight game probably throughout.
And a defensive struggle at that, particularly with the way the Tropics came out.
Aristidimo challenging Pereira, but the Blast will control. Comes here on the near boards to Healy.
Aristidimo with a ton of speed for 40 years old.
Smart speed, like you said. He positions himself well. He has that vision. He can see the floor and kind of anticipate what's going to happen and get himself to the spot where he knows he can help.
Soccer is a game, even the indoor game is a game of space. You got to be in the right space at the right time. And that is not a luck thing. It's all about putting yourself in the right position, seeing the game 2-3 plays ahead.
Restart here for Florida with 30 seconds to go. Stay tuned. Expect to have a quick interview with Florida coach Clay Roberts at the end of the first half to see what his thoughts were. Tropics look like they may be fairly content here to just go in with a 1-all tie. Some pressure late here from Baltimore, but the time will run out in the second half, and we will, in fact, go to intermission, tied at 1. So 30 very important minutes of soccer coming up here in the second half. BioLife Plasma Services needs your help, Lakeland, in saving lives. To learn how you can become a donor and get paid for your donations, visit biolifeplasma.com. Lindsay Noble is down on the field tonight doing our on-field interviews, and Coach Clay Roberts is on his way over to talk to Lindsay, so we'll head down to the field, and here is Florida coach Clay Roberts.
Tropics fans, please turn attention to the field for an interview with head coach Clay Roberts.
Hey everyone, I'm down here with Coach Roberts. Can you tell me a little bit about what you think about your team's performance tonight?
That's a good game so far. 1-1 with the defending champions. I think we're doing a good job of setting the offense that we want to set. We're not taking big risks right now, so hopefully in the second half we'll go ahead and be able to step our pressure up a little bit more.
Now, what are you looking for them to improve on in the next 2 quarters?
Yeah, we just don't need to make a mistake right now. It's a good game, there's good rhythm. They played last night, so we're going to try to keep the tempo of them moving, and so hopefully the goal comes for us.
All right, great. Thank you for your time.
Thanks, Lindsay. Tropics fans, please welcome to the field the McGill Academy dance team.
When it comes to Medicare Advantage plans, here's some great news from CarePlus. With the Carefree plan, you may be able to get a $94 reduction on your Medicare Part B premium every month. That's up to $1,128 a year back in your Social Security check. Plus, no more than $3,400 in out-of-pocket expenses and $0 copays on Tier 1 and 2 prescription drugs. The annual enrollment period is here and ends December 7th, so call today. There's always a plus in CarePlus.
I love my job, truly because of the people.
I'm actually looking forward to stepping into the office every single day.
I love working at Sykes because I love talking to people from around the country and just hearing their story.
I like the customer interaction.
And it helps me feel that I'm being part of something bigger than myself.
And the reason I love my job is the opportunity to make such great relationships with so many different people.
I work in a family more than at an actual call center.
I love my job.
Hi everyone, I'm Shannon Estelle. I just wanted to say hi and hope you enjoyed tonight's game. When you're done here, go over to my YouTube channel to get to know me a little bit better. And yeah, enjoy the game. Go Tropics.
When it comes to Medicare Advantage plans, here's some great news from CarePlus. With the Carefree plan, you may be able to get a $94 reduction on your Medicare Part B premium every month. That's up to $1,128 a year back in your Social Security check. Plus, no more than $3,400 in out-of-pocket expenses and $0 copays on Tier 1 and 2 prescription drugs. The annual enrollment period is here and ends December 7th, so call today. There's always a plus in CarePlus.
As the Florida Tropics are tied 1-1 with the Baltimore Blast, and we are pleased to be joined by the Chief Executive Officer of the Florida Tropics, Dr. Panos Iakovitis. And Dr. it's I guess pretty much what you would expect against the world champion Baltimore Blast. You know they're the gold standard in the MASL, so your thoughts on the first 30 minutes?
A very difficult game, very competitive. I think both teams have a chance to go ahead. I think we're going to see the same over the next 30 minutes or so of a game.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the Tropics here this year. Their second year now in the Major Arena Soccer League, and you went out in the off-season, and one of the goals was to really increase the goals, if you will, to increase the offense. Brought in a guy like Mauricio Salas, who has gotten 5 goals in 3 games, Lucas Coutinho with 3 goals. Talk about maybe a couple of the new guys, especially Mauricio, and what he means to the Tropics here this year.
I think both of those players have brought a tremendous offensive strength to our team, and I think we're going to see them perform better and better as the year goes by, as they get used to the team, and the players of our team also get used to how those two fine players play with them.
Let's talk a little bit big picture about the Tropics and the franchise. One of the things I know that's important to you is how they've been integrating into the community and involving themselves with the youth programs around the county. One of the big pieces of news this summer was a merger with the Lakeland FC Youth Soccer Organization. I know that's something that's very important to you, and share your vision, if you will, a little bit about the Tropics and what they mean, greater picture, if you will, to the Central Florida area and the community at large.
Definitely my involvement to the Tropics soccer is not just because of my love to the sport, but also my love to our community. We have been trying to work with every aspect of our community in the soccer primarily, of course, but also with all other charities, institutions, and the support has been fantastic over the last 8 to 10 months. We have significantly progressed as far as our franchise, our name, our trademark, and the response has been almost incredible, I would say, for such a short effort.
And let's talk a little bit about the league as a whole. Again, our second season in the MASL, and we know Toronto will be coming in the 2018 season. Gives it a true North American footprint with a team in Canada, 2 in Mexico, the rest of the team here in the United States. Just talk about the direction of the MASL and where we are, if you will, as compared to a year ago when this was also brand new.
I think this league is just beginning to flourish. We only see the first few new franchises. We noticed that the number of interest is significant, but also we noticed that the competition has reached a new high level. Just in our division, you have obviously the champion of indoor soccer, but also the other 2 teams, Harrisburg and Syracuse, are very competitive. And we see that pretty much throughout the league. So all of the teams are very competitive, and we're going to see that become harder and harder to differentiate one team from the other.
Yeah, and you look at Syracuse, that's a great example. They've played 4 games. They've either won or lost all their games by 1 goal. Their 1 win and 3 losses. Every single game was a 1-goal game. This, I mean, it's not too early in the season when you look at the fact our next 5 games, including this one tonight, are all against Eastern Division foes. So even though it's early in the season, these games are really going to be critical perhaps when it comes down to determining the 2 playoff spots come February and March.
Absolutely right. Any game from now on is very critical for us if we want to make it to the playoffs and have a chance of winning our division, especially when we play against the world champions.
And interesting with the Tropics, not only, of course, do they play indoor in the Major Arena Soccer League, but they have a sister franchise that plays outdoors now. Their first season in the USL Premier Development League last summer was a success. Good crowds, good team, a 9-3-2 record. And how important is that to kind of keep that year-round presence, if you will? Cedar Rapids does the same thing. They play indoors in this league, and they also have an outdoor pro team, or developmental team, if you will. Talk about how that came about and where you see that whole vision going.
Definitely this community loves soccer. We have probably over 10,000 young boys and girls that they play soccer throughout the year. So it makes a lot of sense for us to try to keep the soccer action 12 months a year if possible. So PDL is fulfilling some of that need, and it has been very, very rewarding in seeing so many fans participating in the PDL games. Our first game, as you are well aware, we had over 6,500 fans on the stand, and the rest of the games there were at least between 2,000 to 3,000 spectators in every single game. The love for the soccer and the participation of the community has been great so far.
And the good thing about arena soccer is we don't have to worry about the weather.
Definitely.
You try and play outdoor soccer in May and June in Florida, and it can be certainly a bit of a challenge. So the big question is, are you having fun?
We're having great fun. We're having great fun.
All right, well, good deal. It's 1-1 at halftime. Dr. Akavides, we thank you for stopping by. He's the chief executive owner of the Tropics, and let's hope we can bring home a win here tonight.
We hope so.
All right,
Okay.
thank you, Doctor. Appreciate it very much. 1-1 is our score here at halftime. The Baltimore Blast and the Florida Tropics will be back with second half action in just a moment. This is Soccer Night in Florida on MASL.TV.
When it comes to Medicare Advantage plans, here's some great news from CarePlus. With the Carefree plan, you may be able to get a $94 reduction on your Medicare Part B premium every month. That's up to $1,128 a year back in your Social Security check. Plus, no more than $3,400 in out-of-pocket expenses and $0 copays on Tier 1 and 2 prescription drugs. The annual enrollment period is here and ends December 7th, so call today. There's always a plus in CarePlus.
Forward to stepping into the office every single day.
I love working at Sykes because I love talking to people from around the country and just hearing their story.
I like the customer interaction.
And it helps me feel that I'm being part of something bigger than myself.
And the reason I love my job is the opportunity to make such great relationships with so many different people.
I work in a family more than at an actual call center.
I love my job.
Here's some great news from CarePlus. With the Carefree plan, you may be able to get a $94 reduction on your Medicare Part B.
Back here in Lakeland, Florida, Sykes Field at the RP Funding Center. 1-1 is our score between the Blast and the Florida Tropics with Evan Weston. Yeah, I'll be all right. Weston. I'm Brian Ackley. Good to have you with us tonight. Special hello to our friends up in the Charm City viewing. I understand it's gotten a little cold in the Northeast, so my sympathies. I actually spent the first 40 years of my life in Buffalo, so I know a little bit about the cold weather. I also, for the Blast fans looking in tonight, the longtime Blast fans, one interesting tidbit from Blast history is I actually saw Scott Manning play his first ever game indoors in Buffalo back in the 1979-80 season. Of course, Scott Manning had 13 glorious years in the MISL, was a championship series MVP for the Blast back in the 80s, and won in a long line of great goaltenders in Baltimore history. Scott got a start in December when the Stallions starting goaltender got hurt before the third game of the season, and Scott became the starting goaltender the rest of the way. That first game he played, I can remember like it was yesterday, he beat the Hartford Hellions, which to this day is one of my all-time favorite sports franchise nicknames.
Hartford Sports, right?
Yeah,
it just seems
I
like
know.
the Whalers, the Hellions, that's fantastic.
Exactly, the Hartford Hellions. And Scott and the Stallions won that game 11-10. And I can remember talking to him in the locker room after that game, the old Memorial Auditorium in Buffalo, which was one of those great, glorious old-time arenas. You know, the locker rooms were nothing but benches and cement walls, and he was literally just slumped over at his stall, just drenched in sweat. I mean, literally barely even able to talk. And pretty much all I can remember from the interview I did with him that night was, you know, he'd never played indoors. He played outdoors that summer with the Pennsylvania Stoners and joined the Stallions primarily just to be a backup. Had only been practicing with them for a couple of weeks when he got thrust into the starting role. So he really didn't have much idea what he was getting himself into. And in an 11-10 game in the day when goals like today are, you know, one goal is one goal, 11-10 final, and he just said out of the frying pan and into the fire. And that was Scott Manning's induction into professional indoor soccer, and went on to have a great career, I believe 9 years with the Baltimore Blast. And you look at some of the tremendous goaltenders that the Blast have had in their history, going back to Keith Von Aaron and Chris Vaccaro and Scott Manning and William Van Zalen, just another in a long line of tremendous net minders. And both he and Peter Sliwa played very well in that first half.
Yeah, they certainly did. Van Zelen making a couple of great saves, in particular at the start of the second quarter on a restart attempt, free kick by Mauricio Salas. Phenomenal stop, got just enough of it to get his hand onto the ball.
All right, we're going to head down to the
Tropics fans, please turn your attention to the field as Celtics has a word with Blast head coach Danny Kelly.
Hey everyone, I'm here with Coach Kelly. Coach, can you tell me a little bit about what you thought about your team's performance?
You know, coming in after playing last night, I thought first quarter we were a little sluggish. Second quarter we were a little bit better.
Now, what did you tell your team in the locker room to break this tie?
We got to continue to play good defense. Florida's really good at transition and getting out in the counterattack. We got to be aware of that. We got to do a better job of keeping possession and finishing chances when they come to us.
Thank you, Coach. Go Tropics.
Danny Kelly, the coach of the two-time defending champion Baltimore Blaster, thanks to Lindsey Nobles on the field for doing a great job, and we hope to snag one of the Tropics players after the game on our post-game report to hopefully talk about a Florida win. So the Tropics last with 30 minutes, maybe left to play. I was predicting overtime this afternoon before the game. The Tropics have never played an overtime game in their 23 games. As close as things have been so far in the East, it really makes sense maybe that we got excellent.
All right, fans, it's the second half. It's time to get loud and make some noise.
The Tropics came out, played offensively, copied as much, and that halftime interview. They were looking to stay defensive. They didn't want to take too many risks. Will Florida open it up a little bit more? They looked like they did in the last 7 minutes or so of the second quarter. Will they open it up more here in the third and fourth and allow this game to breathe a little bit more than it did in the first 30 minutes?
One other game tonight, by the way, in the MASL, and it's a game that both these clubs are interested in keeping an eye on, and is up in Harrisburg, or rather out in Cedar Rapids for the Harrisburg Heat on the Cedar Rapids webpage. We are getting it on, and that game is 3-2 now in the second quarter, so we'll keep an eye on that game as it progresses. Again, as close as the East figures to be this year, every single game is important. Here's a chance in front right out of the gate, and Tony Donatelli just misses the conversion.
Donatelli had as good a chance as they've had all game.
Yeah,
great feed off the boards by Vinny Dantas, and just a little bit slow to get his leg in front of it.
We'll get the restart here. Salas can't control it. It'll be Donatelli again. Left wing to Dantas. Goes around the boards wide. Davis has been quiet tonight.
This is good here from Florida. Get a little bit of possession, find your way into the game. You don't have to pin yourself back too much.
Rodriguez will look for Diegues in the right corner here. Diegues in trouble on the control. Dantas challenges. Diegues gets it back, takes a shot, and it's blocked. But a handball is called against Baltimore, so a good restart chance here.
Healy can't believe it, but I think they got that one right. His right arm kind of flashed out at the ball. Such an instinctive thing. It's just as a human being. But I like that call from the official.
Somebody scream!
I'm sure thinking, as is Baltimore, that a second goal here in the
Timeout Tropics
would be important as things unwind in the second half, but this game is not going to end 2-1.
No question about it.
When you get presented with a good opportunity like this, they want to talk about who they want on the floor and how they want this restart to unfold.
And I like the timeout. You played such a defensive style in that first half, and you waited and you sat back and you absorbed pressure. You got the one goal on a similar scenario where Carreras is right on top of the arc on a restart. So, you're in a spot here where you need to catch this in. And it's like in the first quarter. You want to get off on the right foot. I know you're the two-time defending champion. That doesn't intimidate me. We're here and we're going to play you to the final whistle. And you're going to have to pull off another comeback if you want to beat us here in Lakeland. This is going to be a fortress for the Florida Tropics.
For more information, visit extremegroup.com. Call 863-606-8137.
So very offensive lineup here.
Somebody
Not nearly enough on that by Pereira. Just kind of squibbed it in front, and Baltimore's too fundamentally sound defensively to miss that. An easy stop there for the Blast, and Clay Roberts will be frustrated with how that unfolded. Santos has been a little bit slow all night on that left side in the defense. He's a guy who's aware of the urgency of the moment, and then he finishes with a beautiful strike.
Yeah, very nice play by Mujin once he got in behind the defense.
Goal for Tropics forward number 10, Freddie Mujin.
So Pereira's and Mujin, the goal scorers tonight for Florida.
Freddie Mujin just scored. Freddie is in the shape of his life due to sessions at Lakeland Cryo. Log on to LakelandCryo.com to book your appointment or to find out more about this life-changing therapy.
JP looks deep for Diegas, intercepted easily there by the Flash. Now Rodriguez will pick it up again. Rodriguez ahead to Diegas. Diegas looks for some help, finds Tyron Hall. He's got Pereira's making a run far side, and actually Enrique. But he couldn't get it down to Diegas. Diegas tries to fight his way through Oliveria.
Well defended by the Oliveria right there. Just stayed on his man. He's a bigger guy, able to use his size to slay Ricardo Diegas off the ball.
Car accident or personal injury, the Martin Brooks, our official law attorneys. Go to BrooksLawGroup.com or call 1-800-LAW-3030 for more information. Posto 9 is an amazing Brazilian gastro bar with a delicious and very menu. Tonight's time with a great day of for hosting an event. Posto 9 is the place to be.
Ryan, Baltimore just looks a little out of whack here, don't they? They took the restart after the center circle into the crowd. They've been playing the ball, trying to get it off the boards, and it's going into the stands. They're not on their game right now, and I really like the way Florida responded to the goal. Unlike in the first quarter when they chose to absorb, they've instead decided to stay on the attack. They know they're not going to keep Baltimore out of the net for 27 minutes. They're going to go get 3, 4, 5 if they can. Really well defended by Florida. what you want out of your keeper. Really relaxed, come out on the ball, you know you've got it.
Up high, and the Tropics will go on the power play as Pereira will head to the box.
Salas, a guy who, again, he's been around the block a couple of times. He knows how to take a foul. And, you know, I really like the roster composition here, too, for the Tropics, because for such a new franchise, typically you'll see expansion teams load up on young players. We saw in MLS this year, coming from that background, Atlanta United loaded with 22 to 24-year-olds, and in the playoffs, that kind of came back to bite them. But this Tropics team has such a nice mix of young guys and veterans that they are able to avoid some of those new franchise mistakes that you so often see.
Lakeland Electric Power Play.
Baltimore 67%. Florida's power play conversion rate is 50%, which is pretty decent. So we'll see if the Tropics can get one here. I know they've spent a lot of time in the last couple of weeks working on power play situations. There's a lot of alerts. Looks deep for Mujic.
Where they got the first one, and that was Pereira's.
Tropics fans, we're in striking distance. Somebody scream!
Particularly dangerous restart opportunity here from the corner. Over to Coutinho's shot, that is wide on the near post. And here's a short-handed opportunity perhaps for Baltimore. It is a run into the zone and contact and a foul as Melo and Coutinho tangle.
Now on last midfield, Jonas Melo, number 23.
Still lots of time on the power play, minute 33 to go. Pereira slowly bringing it up, and Salas, not surprisingly, back on the floor now. Here's Pereira over to Salas. Salas will head into the Baltimore third as Pereira brings it to the yellow line. Down in the corner now to Mujic. Back on top to Pereira. Penetration, now Salas with it, goes down the goal!
And then taking it back and working it towards Salas, who just doesn't have to blast the ball as hard as he can. It's a nice grass cutter towards that far post. That's all we need in the power play. Brilliantly done by Mauricio.
Yeah, and that's a great point, Evan. It wasn't like a bomb like you usually see from Mauricio. It was just a good look and a well-played shot that took no chance.
Mauricio Salas
takes a 3-1 lead here. Here's Tyrone Hall. And no contact with Melo. Referee said play on.
Penetration, now Salas with it, goes down the goal!
What is it on? Gets a shot, a great save. He got a hand on that one at the last second. Boy, has he been on his game tonight. Great save by Peter Sliwa, maybe his best of the game. Reyes will play it back to Monolaris.
What a phenomenal stop by Sliwa. And again, all of this is so controlled from him. He's so calm. A great counter by Baltimore, but Sliwa knows he just needs a little bit of tip on the ball, gets his left glove out just in time. Well done.
Down to Mujin. Mujin with it with a shot. Goal!
Tropics on a 3-0 run here in the third quarter, and Mujin has been the catalyst this entire time. He's so opportunistic. You understand why he's a coach, because he understands every little moment in the game where you can take advantage. Mujin didn't have all that much to work with here, but he makes something happen. Mujin magic really is the best way to put it.
And the veteran coach of the Blast, Danny Kelly, wants a timeout to slow things down here and regroup. And a good idea if you're the Baltimore Blast. And really another kind of a mistake by the Blast. Not really particularly well played there in front of the net. Vanzela couldn't quite get a hand on it. And as you pointed out, Mujin never panicked, just took his time, made Vanzela commit and put it into the goal for a fourth goal. And you look back at that save that Peter Sliwa made at 3-1. If Baltimore comes back and makes it 3-2 immediately, boy, what a different feel this game has. Instead, he makes that tremendous save, and the next goal comes Florida's way for a 4-1 lead.
I got to tell you too, I'm really surprised, not in how, not composed Baltimore is, that's not the right way to put it, but maybe how disorganized they've been at the back tonight. This is a team that prides itself on defense, especially in clutch moments. They've made so many big plays, and tonight Baltimore have seen their not Vanzela necessarily, but the backs in front of him make a couple of key mistakes that have allowed Mujin some space that maybe he shouldn't have had. And I think Baltimore, the thing is, it's a paradox, because at one point you'd say, all right, let's drop a third guy back there and help out a little bit like Florida's been doing all night. But on the other hand, you're down by 3, so you need that offense now. So it's a little bit of a balancing act coming up for Coach Kelly. As we saw in last year's championship, he knows how to manage it better than anybody.
So 4-1 Florida, 2 goals within the span of 55 seconds. And the key now for the Tropics is to make sure Baltimore doesn't get a quick one and turn momentum back their way. They are really good at that.
That's his second of the game.
So Mujin gets his second of the night, his 4th of the season. He now has 9 points on the year, 4 goals and 5 assists. Here's Salas as he plays it to Rico, couldn't get by Keeley, who gives Salas to number 9. So it was Mujin opening the scoring here in the third quarter at 1:33. And then on the power play, Salas at 5:15 and Mujin is second of the quarter at 6:20. Here's a chance for the Blast. Shot goes just high by Donatelli. Great opportunity there, as Baltimore, as we expected, has come out and really ratcheted up the pressure.
What a ball that was by Healy. And Donatelli, that's twice tonight where he's had a chance to really finish in this third quarter and has just been a little bit off target. And it's surprising to me because he's just such a composed player in front of the net. Florida's caught a couple of breaks there.
And it may be something to do with the 2 games in 2 nights. There's a shot and a goal. Nice ball by Nascimento. I don't think Sliwa ever saw it because he never really reacted until it was by him. And there you go with that veteran composure and the timeout. And it's been all Baltimore since that timeout, and they cut it now to 4-2.
Took a minute 15 for Baltimore to get that one back. And really a goal out of nothing. Behind the red line, Nascimento just kind of volleying the ball in, taking a crack at it with a laser. And I think Sliwa was screened off of that. I don't know if it was his own guy or if it was Pereira for Baltimore who kind of got in his vision. But Sliwa clearly did not have an angle at that ball from his viewpoint, and that allowed it to slip through.
Yeah, it was kind of a weird goal. I mean, it was well struck. Certainly give Nascimento credit. Here's a chance again for the Tropics. Mujin just misses his bid for the hat-trick far post. Just went wide. Pereira's up with it, and he will control things back now to J.P. Reyes, who will settle it down. Good idea.
love that from Florida. You don't let the Blast find their way back into this game. You get right on the front foot and you push the pedal down to the floor.
Yeah, you want to stay aggressive, there's no question. You don't want to take unnecessary risks, but 4 is very unlikely going to be the total needed for Florida tonight to win this. So you're absolutely right. The best way to respond to pressure is put some pressure on yourself. Sliwa with it, off his line here.
Clay Roberts was right. We've seen the game open up a little bit. Florida taking a few more risks. Baltimore having to respond in kind. We've already seen twice as many goals in the first 8:30 of the third quarter than we did in the whole first half. So I think we're just getting started with the offense.
Yeah, that may be the truth. Sliwa will take a look deep for Mujin now. Mujin to Teixeira. Freddie will track it down, being watched by Santana and by DeSantos over there. Still loose along the boards. DeSantos will finally come out of there with it, or actually it's Santana. Lays it up on the near boards to Roque. Roque has it taken away. Good play by Coutinho. Still waiting to see Lucas get his 4th of the year, but he has played well tonight. It is Monolaris. Lays it off for Sliwa. Right back to Monolaris. Monolaris looks into the Baltimore zone. Vanzela going to come out and spray it away from Villegas, who had gotten in behind the Baltimore defense. And it goes over the sideboards. Restart coming up for Florida.
Kind of a loose touch there by Roque, and that's created by the pressure from Marico. He and Coutinho in particular have had really nice games in the midfield.
To Villegas, or at least the idea was to Villegas, and Vanzela came out to make sure there was no good opportunity there. Interesting about Vanzela, he actually has dual citizenship in both Brazil and Italy, believe it or not. We'll have it at the red line. Coming in, and you look at his stats from the first couple of games, and you think, well, that's not really the William Vanzela we know. It's Baltimore again in the Florida 3rd, but the Blast have moved to a new arena this year. They are no longer at the Baltimore Arena, or the Royal Farms Arena as it is now known. They have moved to a beautiful new facility on the campus of Towson State, but it is a much smaller field. The field dimensions are only about 150 feet from end to end instead of the normal 200. Here's again the Blast and a foul as taken down. Roque was taken down by his number 8 counterpart, Marco Rodriguez. So games in Baltimore will now be a lot more high scoring than they ever used to be, and that will reflect a little bit on Vanzela's stats, but that is a little misleading if you don't know about the arena change. Good restart chance here, shot, and that will go out of play as Nascimento teed it up from about 45 feet.
I don't mind that for Nascimento at all. He just scored on that a few minutes ago. He tried to get that screen going again. This time it was Jamie Thomas who kind of cut and was screening off Sliwa. Nascimento rather hit it a little bit high, but again, I like the idea from Baltimore to try and mess with Sliwa's vision. He's seen the ball so well tonight.
Tyrone Hall with it. He's got Freddie behind him, and he couldn't get it through the defender, DeSantos, who makes a good play.
Yeah, that's much better from DeSantos this time. He had struggled with both Villegas and with Mujin earlier in this game, and that's much better by that young man to go out and play the ball hard.
Oxy and JP Reyes mix it up, and the foul will go against Florida here.
Foul on number 23, JP Reyes.
Donatelli will do the restart honors for Baltimore. Out about halfway between the midfield line and the red line. 4-2 Florida. 3 straight here in the 3rd quarter, but Baltimore with an answer to make it 4-2. That goal by Nascimento. Here's Pereira's pretty ball. Still trying to make a run. Makes a shot, and that will be deflected. What a nice run by Victor Pereira as he created space and opportunity for himself.
Well, the first thing he did was to play the ball off the board to get it away from Pereira, and then that beautiful nutmeg on DeSantos. Now, DeSantos is going to want to burn the tape for that one.
Here's a shot. Oh, great save by Sliwa, his best of the game. What a save in front. A point-blank opportunity for Hoxie, and Sliwa somehow got a hand on it. Boy, he has been very good here tonight. 4-2, the score remains.
And I wonder if the knowledge that Miguel Gallardo is here, he's dressed, is breathing down Sliwa's neck. You know, it's a big talk in soccer, especially in the United States right now, is do players need more pressure to the spots on their team? Well, Sliwa's got a ton of pressure on him right now, and he's done well.
Here's Coutinho, counterattack opportunity with Diegues. Coutinho to Diegues, shot, redirect, scores! Diegues just didn't quite get enough on it. He tried to redirect, and it wasn't quite a clean strike. What a great play by Coutinho. Chance again for the Tropics here. Thought Coutinho might take the shot himself. He's not afraid to do it, but he laid a perfect pass across the box to Diegues, and boy, Ricardo doesn't miss those very often, I'll tell you. And he'll head to the bench, and he's still shaking his head.
Well, he, I think, was kind of caught between two thoughts there. Was he going to shoot it right away or touch it and then try to blast it in? And he kind of got caught in between.
Here's Salas with a shot, and Vanzela had to be sharp to get a leg on that one. Here's the quick outlet down the left boards now to Peruzzi. Yep, Daniel Peruzzi, thank you. Oh no, yeah, that was not that. For a second there, I thought it was Santana, but here comes Oliveria with it. There's the shot and a good block by Monolaris. Here's a chance now, Healy with it. Healy tried to cut it in front. Nice defensive recovery right there by Anthony Rico. Well, you can see the hustle tonight on both sides. Manzella will bring it out into the neutral zone. Plays it down for Dantas, but taken away, and here's Tyrone Hall. Hall on the counter. Hall comes in, shot off the boards, and a weak one, as he was pestered all the way in there by Jamie Thomas. Now here comes Donatelli. He's got Thomas making a run. Santana lays it off, shot the goal. Jamie Thomas with the nice layoff on Dantas, and the blaster right back in it at 4-3.
Absolutely beautiful. Kind of a basketball-style play here by the Blast. You saw Thomas kind of curl around.
Here comes Donatelli. He's got Thomas making a run. Santana lays it off, shot the goal.
Absolutely gorgeous. I mean, you can't no-sell the finish there by Thomas. That is probably the best finish we've seen tonight. Top shelf where Sliwa had absolutely no prayer at it, but what a great pick by Dantas to draw the defense to him. Just a greatly laid play by Baltimore.
Yep, very nice goal, very nice shot by Thomas, as you said. And Baltimore not going into the dark night easily here in Central Florida on this Saturday. 4-3, Tropics still lead it, but Baltimore with the last 2 goals now here in what has been a wide open third quarter.
And they never do go away. Just look at the championship game last year, trailing 6-3. They come back to win. This is a team that you need to play a full 60 minutes to beat. That's what we talked about right at the beginning. And the next 16 minutes, gut check time for this Florida team. We're going to learn a lot about where this team stands.
Yeah, that was an incredible comeback in that championship game. Here's a shot by Peruzzi, and that goes well up into the crowd. So, with 29 seconds to go, Florida will get possession of the first hit coming up for Sliwa.
The newly renovated hotel and the best amenities around is affordable and classy. It's Lakeland's best value offering
We were talking about it earlier in the game, that championship won by Baltimore last year. They tied the game with 5 seconds to go and then won it in overtime to force the mini game. Here's Diegues. Diegues dribbles one towards Vanzela, and an easy save for the Baltimore netminder there. Here's a chance for the Tropics, but Reyes back there and makes the good play. Diegues keeps it alive to Aristodemo, right back to Ricardo. Diegues on the left wing, brings it deep into the zone, shot on goal, Vanzela with a save, and he'll do a good job to cover the rebound.
Yeah, it's a tough angle there for Ricardo. Big ball through by Aristodemo, a little pick and roll action to get Ricardo Diegues free, but just couldn't quite find the turn of the corner there. And a nice defensive play by Nascimento.
Aristodemo trying to keep it alive with 4 seconds to go. Aristodemo again with a sliding tackle, and time will expire here in the third quarter. And what a third quarter it was. 5 goals, 3 by the Tropics all in a row, and then the last 2 now by the Blast to make it a 4-3 score. So we will head to the final 15 minutes. Let's see if the Tropics can hold on and create a little history tonight with their first ever win over the Blast, or Baltimore. Do they have it in them to come back one more time? Let's take a break.
And we will be back to Lakeland in just a moment. It's Florida 4 and Baltimore 3. This is Soccer Night Florida on MASL.TV.
When it comes to Medicare Advantage plans, here's some great news from Care Plus. With the Carefree plan, you may be able to get a $94 reduction on your Medicare Part B premium every month. That's up to $1,128 a year back in your Social Security check. Plus, no more than $3,400 in out-of-pocket expenses and $0 copays on Tier 1 and 2 prescription drugs. The annual enrollment period is here and ends December 7th, so call today. There's always a plus in Care Plus.
Florida Tropics Soccer brought to you by Phil Averbuck, your local criminal law attorney. Go to averbucklaw.com or give him a call at 863-533-9000 for more information. At Averbuck Criminal Law, our goals are your goals. Averbuck, the sponsor of the penalties this season, and that certainly played a large role in that third quarter. As Mauricio Salas' 200th career goal in professional arena soccer was a power play goal at 5:15, and that gave Florida a 3-1 lead. It went to 4-1 as Freddie Nugent scored his second of the game. But then Marco Nascimento for the Blast at 7:30. That came just 70 seconds after Nugent had given the Tropics a 4-1 lead. And the last marker of the quarter, of course, off the foot of Jamie Thomas. And that came at 13:57. Shots on goal here tonight so far. Baltimore outshooting Florida through the first three quarters, 32-30. So things, as we said, Evan, and as we kind of anticipated, did really open themselves up in the third quarter, and I would expect much of the same in the fourth.
I would say so far, though, Brian, you have to be encouraged if you're a Tropics fan, right? This is a team that beat you several times last year. You didn't beat them. You came close, but you didn't pull it off. This is a game where you look at that shot total and look at the score. Florida has played right there with Baltimore. This isn't a fluke lead or anything like that. They have been right there with the Blast every second. I think tactically, they've been just about perfect. And now it's a matter of closing it out. Nobody in the history of this league has been better at closing out games than the Baltimore Blast. This is where you can put yourself on the map as one of the contending organizations in this league if you're Florida. Huge 15 minutes, about as big as a November 15 minutes can get in this league.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. A win tonight by Florida would really kind of set the table and boost their confidence to a level that they probably haven't been at in their brief history. And of course, Baltimore undefeated wants to send the message that they're still the kings of the hill, and these 15 minutes will be fun. Here's Mugin. He got in behind the Baltimore defense again and just missed on a header. Regal Auto, one of our sponsors this year for the Florida Tropics, Polk County's best prices, best selection, and service. Check us out on regallakeland.com or stop by our Chevy or Kia stores on Highway 98 or the Honda, Acura, and GMC locations. There's a chance and a good save by Sliwa. Our thanks to the folks at Regal Auto for providing the 2017 automobile to drive our starters onto the field tonight. That's always fun. Crowd enjoying that. Not quite what the Blast used to do back in the old days of the Major Indoor Soccer League, where they actually had a neon soccer ball that descended from the ceiling and split open when it hit the floor and the team came out of the soccer ball. So that's that was the early crazy days of indoor soccer in this country. Here's Hoxie with a short side shot, and that just misses.
Dangerous there from Sliwa, too, to try and snare that with his stomach to the goal. That is a dangerous moment, because if you bat that, it can go right into the net.
Pereira's trying to feed Diegas, and it was a little high, the bounce off the boards for Ricardo when he couldn't get there, and Manzella will take possession for the Blast. Not sure if the next goal is going to be the deciding goal in this game. It may be if we don't get a score over the next 6 or 7 minutes, but you do get a feeling that whether it's a tie game or a 2-goal game might make a big difference here over the course of the final period.
Now, Florida has gone back to what they were doing after they got up 1-0, which was to sit back and absorb some pressure.
Corner kicks restart here for the Blast. Comes all the way across the box to Nascimento. Good defense there by the Tropics as Rodriguez snuffed it out. Header through the box, but nobody there for Baltimore, and Rodriguez will just take the pressure off and clear. But you certainly do not want to sit back here. Numbers opportunity for the Blast. Good recovery by Aristodemo. And it looked for a moment like the Blast might really have a good opportunity. They will go on a line change here. Nascimento has it right at the midfield circle. And then he'll head to the bench as Santana comes on. Santana with it, trying to get around Robbie. And he is unable to as Rodriguez gets the loose ball back to Sliwa. Cleared out to the midfield circle, but again, Baltimore with immediate control. Santana tried to fight by Rodriguez, and let's see where the whistle goes here. Santana got Rodriguez up high, but they are going to call Rodriguez for the foul.
A 2-on-1 situation like that, it's going to favor the attacking player. And Rodriguez did kind of get his studs tied up with Dantas there. I like that call.
So Baltimore will keep possession. Santana with it, being watched by Coutinho. More pressure now out at the midfield circle as Mugin moves in. Hoxie will, rather, it is Dantas, or rather, it is Donatelli, and he plays it off the boards and a near miss again for the Blast. It was Peruzzi who found the space in front and almost got the tying goal. Sliwa will play it up to Teixeira. Back to Aristodemo and now to Sliwa. Sliwa with the play to Teixeira. Teixeira almost lost it. Looked like it could have been a handball, but no call. 2-on-1 chance doesn't develop as Reyes had moved ahead and he had Mugin in front of the Baltimore goal. Aristodemo comes up to challenge, and they will call this against Baltimore.
And the Blast are not happy with the officials, and I can sympathize a little bit as Teixeira clearly touched the ball with both hands. Tropics a bit fortunate to have it back here, but you know what? You have to capitalize on the breaks you get, and Florida will absolutely thank the ability to just get a little bit of this pressure off.
Yeah, he kind of dropped to the pitch like he was recovering a fumble, which it kind of was. The Blast will control again 2-on-2 if they want it, but they will slow things down and play it back to DeSantos here. Salas with some pressure. Ball up to Diegues. Diegues taken away now by Monaleras. Over to Arico. And Arico will play it back. Under 11 minutes now to go in the fourth quarter. Arico. This is Teixeira with it. Teixeira being watched by Roque. To Monaleras. And over to Salas. Tropics looking for some penetration now in the right corner to Diegues. Diegues was hoping to catch Pereiras on a run but couldn't control the inlet pass. Here's a ball through onto Sliwa, and a good save as Thomas bid for his second of the game, and then on the rebound just misses high.
Absolutely gorgeous through ball there. Florida was lulled to sleep a little bit because Baltimore didn't look like they were getting out on a run. But remember, you don't have to worry about cherry picking here. And Thomas way down the floor to go and finish that one. And Sliwa had to come and make a great individual play. It's like I've been saying, you come out of your line, you better touch that ball. Sliwa's been perfect on that tonight.
Been a good game again for Peter Sliwa here this evening. Cedar Rapids last week outshot the Tropics 34-33. Sliwa big in that one as well. Monaleras can't keep it in play, so Baltimore will take possession in the midfield. Inside 10 minutes to go. We're getting kind of close to that point where the next goal might be much bigger than we first thought. Ball in front by Healy, but Sliwa had that perfectly played off the end boards. Here's Coutinho with it. Coutinho gets it ahead to Mugin. Mugin, left side to Pereiras, a little too far. And a crazy kick off the boards, and Coutinho tried the volley and just couldn't get it down close enough to the pitch to make a good strike on it.
I like that by Freddie because he knew he didn't have a great chance of completing that pass, so he put a little extra zip on it, and what that did was create an unsettled situation where Vanzella found himself out of position and it was only by the grace of Coutinho getting a little under that ball that we're not looking at 5-3.
Those two hooked up on a pretty. Here's a chance for Baltimore now. Sliwa with a great play off the boards. Boy, a nice indoor play on both ends. And Tyrone Hall with a counter chance for Florida here. But a recovery by Roque, who was robbed by Sliwa. It was Roque who tried to play it off the boards to himself. A nice indoor play, and Sliwa had it sniffed out perfectly. Again, that veteran presence. Calm, cool, and collected Peter Sliwa in goal, and makes a big save look easy. Down to Dieguez here. Now on top to Reyes, and he'll lay it all the way back to the midfield circle and then some to Rodriguez. Up to Aristodemo. Robbie with it at the midfield line. Still 4-3 Tropics. No goals here in the fourth quarter after a 5-goal outburst in the third. 3 by Florida and 2 by Baltimore. The Tropics bidding for their first ever win against the 2-time defending MASL champion Baltimore Blast here tonight. Mujin looking for a hat trick, but Nascimento will get there first. Mujin with some pressure, and he comes up with it. And he'll play it back out to Reyes. JP will head to the bench on a line change and give it to Arico.
Nice spot of possession here for Florida. You have the lead. Baltimore can't tie the game if they don't have the ball. Florida doing a really nice job to grind out some clock.
Nothing wrong with a little possession here. You're absolutely right. Make Baltimore chase a little bit. Still a ton of time. Just inside 8 minutes to go. That is an eternity in arena soccer. Monolaris with it. He'll play it to Sliwa. Sliwa will look down for Mujin a little too far. Nascimento will chase it down in the corner, and he'll give it up to Vanzela. Some pressure in there by the Tropics. Mello with it. Monolaris shot in there and almost made the steal. Mello will let the Blast make a line change here as Santana comes on. Santana down to Hoxie. Hoxie being watched in the left corner by Monolaris, and he'll bang it back out to the midfield circle. Thomas with it, down to Hoxie. Hoxie will turn, gets it left side. There's a shot and a good block in there by Coutinho. Another shot in front, blocked again, and cleared nicely out of there by Monolaris. Dieguez tried to get a breakaway, and now Dieguez is ahead of the field. Dieguez with a shot! Vanzela makes a good save as he was off the line, and Dieguez tried to make him pay the price, and William Vanzela comes up big again for Baltimore.
It's hard to chip the keeper in this game when the goal mouth is so much smaller, but that's what Dieguez is trying to do there. And Vanzela, he's a veteran. He knows what to do in that situation. Does a great job of diving not just to the side but backwards to play that ball off the boards. That's really good goalkeeping.
Good idea by Dieguez and a better play by Vanzela. Here's a shot off the sideboard end boards, and it'll come right to Robbie Aristodemo. Aristodemo had Ty Hall just maybe a half step ahead of the Baltimore defense. He's double teamed and loses it. And DeSantos will come out of there with it. Peruzzi and Donatelli also harassing Aristodemo there. Long ball into Hoxie. Hoxie bangs it in front. Nobody home for Baltimore. DeSantos will control back out to the midfield circle as Baltimore regroups inside 6 minutes now to play. So we are definitely getting to the point where next goal could be very large.
I was about to say, Brian, you're right. We're looking at this next goal as a massive moment, and you got to credit the defense being played by the Tropics. They've done a phenomenal job of sitting in, countering when they've had an opportunity, taking a little bit of possession. I think Clay Roberts has to be thrilled with the job his team has done. And you're right, Brian. If they can manage to find another goal here, the Blasters suddenly way back on their heels. But I'm sure the Tropics would like the 2-goal cushion very much. Going to be a very nervy 5:39 for everybody in this building.
Shots on goal. Baltimore now with 40 shots here tonight, outshooting the Tropics 40-36, and we'll see a little early for sixth attacker, but I'm sure that's one of the things that Danny Kelly is talking about right now. Probably if it's a one-goal game, somewhere around 2.5 minutes to go is when you would normally see a team go to a sixth attacker situation. So that's one of the things that Danny Kelly is talking about, and I'm sure Clay Roberts reinforcing the fact that he wants bodies on bodies when it is in the Florida offensive third.
Well, this is just a prime example of what we've been talking about tonight. Gut check time against a great team. Florida has played the game that they've wanted to play the entire night. Even when Baltimore had those couple of goals, you're going to get those. A couple of weird goals off of some screens, that's fine. Sliwa has played brilliantly. The defense between guys like Reyes and Aristodemo, Arico coming back and making some big plays. Coutinho, who's been all over the floor tonight, maybe the MVP for Florida as far as his impact box to box in this game. So, you're looking at a team defense that has played so well, but you've done it for 54.5 minutes. You got 5.5 to go. To beat Baltimore, you got to play a perfect game for 60 minutes, and we're about to find out if the Tropics are capable.
Yeah, not 5:37 or 5:38. You got to play it hard for all 5:39, no question. So the Tropics will put it in play in their own third of the field. Down to Salas, it's over his head, and that's not easy to do. Oliveria picks it up. Play on, say the officials. Diegas with it to Arico, and now we have a whistle, and I'm not sure what the whistle was for exactly. Referee talking to Juan Pereira, and now he's going to head over to the box. We have not seen any kind of a card or any kind of an indication there's a yellow card coming or a blue card coming, but not really sure what this is all about.
Ladies and gentlemen, we remind you that the use of a whistle in the stands is
there we go. So there must have been somebody up in the stands that blew some kind of a whistle, and the official is going to explain it now to the Baltimore bench. So I imagine that must have been what the confusion was on the far sideline. They will do the indoor soccer equivalent of a face-off, and the Tropics will control it. Rodriguez chases it down, keeps it in play. Now here's a long ball back. Rodriguez again will track it down. Header goes out of play as Oliverio tried to get it into the Florida zone.
Really composed defense there by Rodriguez. You got a big body on you in Vinny Dantas. That is not an easy guy to square off the ball, and Rodriguez did a really nice job.
Nascimento will take it away and then lose possession, and we'll see. Nope, they're going to say it's Baltimore ball. The Florida bench thought perhaps that it touched the blast glass, which would have given Florida a restart at the top of the arc, but that call was not forthcoming. Here is Dantas with it, double team taken away. Here's a nice ball up to Diegas. Oh, he tried to get it across the box to Pereira's making a run, and unselfish play there by Diegas, and probably Clay Roberts would say, hey guy, we'd like you to see you take that shot, but hard to criticize an unselfish play like that. Mujin again will challenge in the offensive third. Pereira's in there as well, but it'll be Mello for the Blast, playing it back to Venzela. Venzela ahead to Dantas. Now here's a chance. Good sliding play by Salas that time, or rather, yeah, it was Mauricio Salas playing defense there. Here's Pereira. Pereira's over to Freddie. Freddie with a long ball to Pereira's and takes a bad hop off the boards. That was an intentional pass to Pereira's there. Freddie at the end of a shift, and he a little bit out of gas and tried to get it to Pereira's and couldn't do it. And it looks like we've got a whistle again on the far sideline, and not sure what that's all about, but Florida apparently did something that the official didn't like because they're complaining. And again, the official will come over here to the penalty box area and explain what's going on. So we'll find out together, I guess.
Well, whatever the case may be, it looks like it's going to be Baltimore ball with just a tick over 4 minutes on the clock. A little substitution warning on Florida.
Well, fortunate perhaps that it wasn't a blue card. Again, one of the points of emphasis this year is the officials are not trying to do a gotcha with penalty substitution situations, but that may have been close. Here's a shot off the boards in front, and nobody home again off the boards, and again nobody there for the blast. But they've got some possession here now in the Florida zone, and there's a hard takedown and no whistle. So break perhaps for Florida there as DeSantos was marked closely on the boards there. Baltimore again will play it right back into the Florida zone. Sliwa will have an opportunity to play it and does. You can see that 6th jersey attacker on the bench now over there for Baltimore, but they've got a 4-on-3 here if they hurry. Here's a long ball across to Donatelli over his head. Now Donatelli turns and fires, and that goes over the glass as well.
And it looks like it's going to be Healy, so he'll sort of play a hybrid defensive midfielder keeper role to get Baltimore in this sort of extended power play for the last 3:12.
So Healy is on now as the 6th attacker, so here we go. The Tropics 3:12 away from perhaps a little history here tonight in Lakeland, and they will take a timeout to talk things over. Good idea here. Make sure they know exactly what they want to do as Baltimore has gone to the 6th attacker.
I can't say enough about the defense of the Tropics tonight and their discipline. You know, I cannot point to a moment in the game where they really made a glaring error that led to a Baltimore goal. They've been so composed in the back, and that starts with the keeper. Sliwa with a lot of great communication. You can see him motioning to his guys, talking to his guys. Everybody's talking. There's no silence. There's all communication, and that's so key to get everybody on the same page defensively, especially when you're dealing with such a fundamental team like Baltimore, which has so much success playing off the boards and opening guys up, as they did on the 1 goal by Thomas, which was really their best play of the game. But for the most part, Florida has done a terrific job on Baltimore. 2 of their 3 goals, they had the one that kind of came off the line change early in the game, and then the one in the 3rd quarter on that screen that was sort of a fluke goal. So they really only had the one that you could throw up as, all right, well, maybe Florida could have done a little bit better there. But I'd say the Tropics have done a terrific job. And, well, how about this? They're going to take the 6th attacker off, Brian.
Yep, they will send Vanzela back out for the time being, and I believe the 6th attacker jersey has been handed off to Mello. John Mello, I believe, is now going to be the 6th attacker. We'll double check that when, if and when that situation comes up, but right for the moment, Vanzela is back in net. Update from U.S. Cellular Arena out of town. As we said, a game of interest to both the Tropics and the Blast early in the 3rd quarter, and it is Harrisburg leading Cedar Rapids by a 5-4 score. That is the home opener for Cedar Rapids, who had 3 really tough games on the road, including road stops in Baltimore and Florida last weekend, where the Blast and Tropics respectively hung 1-goal defeats on the Rampage. So Cedar Rapids very happy to get back home, I'm sure. And right now they are trailing Harrisburg by a goal early in the 3rd quarter. Vanzela will head to the bench, I think. Healy with it. He's going to play as the 6th attacker for just a moment. Here's the ball ahead now to Roque and to Vanzela. And Vanzela will now head to the bench. And it is, in fact, Mello who has the 6th attacker jersey on here. Down to 2:40 to play. 4-3 Florida. Baltimore will play it up high and then work it down low on the side if they can, as they do right here to Roque. Roque gets it across the box. Here's a shot and another block. This time it's Teixeira. Tyrone Hall with it. Ty Hall. He's got a chance and he'll send it high over the glass. Good idea by Hall, as Mello was caught out at the midfield 3rd, and Tyrone Hall tried to chip it over him but got too much of the ball.
Yeah, don't mind that at all. Great PK zone there by the Florida Tropics. You had Teixeira kind of operating on the left wing of that zone, kind of looked like a 2-3, and Teixeira coming out to make the play, not even letting Baltimore get a chance.
So Florida right now with Monolaris and Reyes back on the defense. Hall up front. Now he heads to the bench. Anthony Arrico is up front with Freddie Mugin and also Lucas Teixeira. Mugin takes it off the boards. He and Healy battle for it. A couple of veterans there. Here is a collision at the red line, and they are going to call the foul against Arrico. So Baltimore with a restart opportunity with just over 2 minutes to go.
2 minutes remaining in the game.
Here comes Nascimento. Has it knocked away, and Nascimento will track it down. Tyrone Hall with the pressure. Gets it over to Mello. Mello looking into the Florida zone. Gets it off the rope. Rope plays it off the board. Sliwa in front. Still loose in there. Still loose, and it's knocked away. Boy, again, some defensive, cool, calm, and collected reactions there by the Tropics as the Blast nearly tie it up.
The first time all night Sliwa was caught out of position and his defense bails him out. That's a 60-minute game.
Tremendous effort so far, but they still have 1:20 to go. Here's the ball deep into the left corner, in front, shot and a goal. There's the game tire with 1:12 to go. So we are now tied at 4, and I think it was Dantas with the goal. It was.
Have 1:20 to go. Here's the ball deep into the left corner, in front, shot and a goal. There's the game.
The net to tie it at 4.
Yeah, Sliwa gets caught watching here on the far post. He's watching the man, not the ball, and was a little bit too stationary on that side, and Dantas was able to find a hole in the zone to put it in. So Venzela will come back into the game, and suddenly, for the first time in 44 games, we might be looking at an extra period.
Well, we'll see. A lot can happen in 68 seconds, to be sure. Baltimore has ripped the hearts out of more than one team and done it recently, so that's what championship teams do. The Tropics trying to get to that level, but after scoring 3 straight in the third quarter, they have given up 3 straight. And we are tied at 4 as we head into the final minute. Ball down to Hoxie. Hoxie double teamed, and Monolaris makes the steal. Here's a long ball, nice defensive play right there, as Oliverio slides and knocks it out of play with Mugin lurking deep in the Baltimore zone. He had defensive help, did Oliverio, but still a good play by the Blast right there. Sliwa comes out, tries to find Salas, can't do it. 3-on-3 opportunity here for Baltimore, but a good intercept by Monolaris. Gets it to Mauricio Salas. Salas will come over the center line. Salas with 2 men on him. Still time though to set something up, gets it down to Mugin. Mugin brings it out to the red line, leaves it off. Here's a long shot and goal!
Set something up, gets it down to Mugin. Mugin brings it out to the red line, leaves it off. There's a long shot and goal!
That is a certified grade A.
To set something up, gets it down to Mugin. Mugin brings it out to the red line, leaves it off. There's a long shot and goal!
That is absolutely fantastic, and now the most nervy 20 seconds that you can imagine.
A spectacular goal at a spectacular moment. 20 seconds to go. Pat Healy is now on as the 6th attacker. Don't go away. Here's Healy. Plays it deep into the Florida zone. Monolaris there. It's in front. Here's a chance. Still loose in the box. Knocked out of there. Down to 10 seconds to go. Healy with it. Healy, and it's blocked out of play by Arrico. Still 7 seconds to go. Still plenty of time for the Blast to get one. Arrico with the play defensively. Healy, you know, will send it deep into the zone here. It goes off the boards in front. There's a shot. It's knocked wide. Rope with a shot off the boards. Donatelli tries to settle it. Donatelli with a shot loose in front. It's over. It's all over, and for the first time, the Florida Tropics defeat the Baltimore Blast, and they come home winners tonight in Lakeland, Florida.
What a finish. You can understand why there's so much excitement about this sport in this town. Sports don't get better than that. A defensive, grinded-out struggle the entire fourth quarter. With 1:12 left, Baltimore get their equalizer, and then Florida with a gutsy, brilliant goal. A goal that establishes them as a legitimate contender early in the season in the Eastern Division. A couple of scary moments at the end of the game, but they survive. One of the best teams in American soccer history in terms of their lineage and their championship pedigree in the Baltimore Blast. And the Florida Tropics can now say they have arrived on the grand stage of the MASL.
I think you're absolutely right. I think you are 100% correct. This is a game that Florida desperately wanted to win, not only for the obvious reasons of the fact that they're now in first place in the division. It was among the other things that happened. It's an early season battle for first place in the division. So Florida, with their 3-1 record, now a half game up on Baltimore, who falls to 2-1. But more importantly, really does establish, I think, the fact that this team is ready to seriously contend in what is a very, very equal and tough Eastern Division. You look at the 4 divisions in the MASL, and right now I don't think there's any doubt about it. The East is by far the best, and right now the Tropics are on top of it.
Well, you know, and it's important to remind folks, they didn't win anything long-term tonight. This doesn't win the division. This doesn't put you in the playoffs, nothing like that. What it does is announce you on that stage. Florida can now take themselves seriously as and the rest of the league certainly is going to take them seriously as contenders for the Eastern Division. And Baltimore, I'm sure, will come away from this game with a little bit more respect for the Tropics. Yes, Baltimore was coming in off a back-to-back. Yes, they were tired from the travel. But you know what? Those are the games, if you're going to make the playoffs, if you're going to make a run to a championship, these are the games you have to win when you're playing a team that's vulnerable, especially if it's a top rival. And Florida, though it got a little nervy near the end, pulls out a tremendous victory, one of the best in the young franchise's history.
Yeah, I think probably the best, really, when you get right down to it. Although you'd have to go a ways to beat their opener last year as their first ever game in the history of this franchise against the San Diego Sockers, who, if Baltimore is the most storied franchise in indoor soccer in this country, San Diego is probably a pretty close second, and the Tropics won that game on a last-minute goal as well by 6-5.
And as soon as, well, here we go, Taxi shot the goal. Andrew Hoxie from the left wing, about 30 feet out, they could work that one back, well placed shot. It's tough. the ball off the board to get it away from Morel. And then that beautiful nutmeg on DeSantis. Well, DeSantis is going to want to burn the tape for that one. Here's the shot. Oh, great save by Snealer. His best of the game. What a save and goal. Here's a chance for Baltimore now. 3-1 with that three. Those two hooked up on a play. Here's a chance for Baltimore now. 3-1 with a great play up the Diego's trying to get a breakaway, and now Diego's is ahead of the field. Diego's with a shot! And still have a minute 20 to go. Here's the ball deep into the left corner in front. Shot the goal! There's the game tie. Now to set something up, gets it down to Mugin. Mugin brings it out to the red line, leaves it off. There's a long shot.
Goes off the post and into the goal for the game winner at 14:41 of the fourth period, and that is your final. The Baltimore Blast fall here tonight in Lakeland by a final score of 5-4. So, Evan, your first official indoor game in person. I hope we'll see you back here soon.
You know, if they're all like this one, I think you can pretty much guarantee that I'll be front and center. This was a wild time. What a great game. I mean, you know, I've spent all summer extolling the virtues of the outdoor game, and I'll spend the rest of my life doing so. But the indoor game certainly something worth checking out, and if you're in the area, highly recommend you come out to the RP Funding Center and to Sykesfield to check this out. Just a great atmosphere. The Tropics do such a great job in putting on a show, and the games are generally tight, exciting. It's kind of a meld of hockey and soccer and basketball and just all the best indoor sports rolled into one. So just a great experience and a great win for the Florida Tropics tonight.
Yeah, nobody's trying to recreate science here. It's just fun. It's a fun game. It's fast. It's entertaining. You're right on top of the action, and you couldn't ask for anything more fun here tonight in Lakeland than the Tropics with a 5-4 win. So that'll do it for our first edition of Soccer Night Florida. As the Tropics improve to 3-1, Baltimore slips to 2-1. Our next broadcast will come your way on Friday, December 1st, as the Tropics will conclude this 3-game homestand, another divisional foe, and that will be the Syracuse Silver Knights in town. That is a 7:35 kickoff on MASL.TV. Our thanks to the crew here tonight, Gary, Tawan, and all the gang, for Mike for making all of our pictures look and sound great. We know you were entertained. We hope you had a good time, and we hope we either see you here at the RP Funding Center next December 1st, or if you can't get to the game, join us all the Tropics games, home and away, live on MASL TV. So for Evan Weston, I'm Brian Ackley. The final score once again here tonight, the Florida Tropics 5, the Baltimore Blast 4. Have a great night, everybody.
interview with just your regular voice, not through the headset. I got bits and pieces, but hey, we got a full broadcast this week, so. No, it was a good show. There was no problem. I heard that, man. 8 hours of setup and it crashed 20 minutes before. And we could never get it back, so we just had to record it and upload it. College radio and TV more times than I could count. So frustrating. And you know, it'd be one thing if it was like home opener. Right, yeah, exactly. It's just like, I think we're pretty good tonight for a team. Yeah,
that was a much better played game than last week.
I said to myself, they're going to lose. When they missed that wide open.